Welcome back. This time we're talking about Despicable Me, the third film in the franchise about a former villain turned good guy after he adopted a trio of little girls. Now, if you didn't watch my catch-up reviews, let me first apologize for being out of pocket the last few weeks. As I mentioned in my review of The Mummy, I was on vacation, then immediately started a new job, and when I finally got my feet back underneath me, I ended up with some technical difficulties with my equipment, namely my audio mic, and decided to go ahead and just postpone videos until I could get that corrected. And hopefully the audio sounds good in this video because I really haven't tested it that much other than the fact that I know the equipment is working. So hopefully you have some decent audio here. But that has put me way behind, so I am now caught up, and I am actually talking about a movie I saw this weekend. Now, I'm a big fan of the first Despicable Me movie. That movie caught me by surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the comedy, I enjoyed the minions, and I enjoyed the heart that they had really instilled in this film about three girls looking for a family and a villain not knowing that he needed a family. Now, obviously, the Minions have turned into their own huge franchise at this point. We first got to see that in Despicable Me 2, which was a film that I did enjoy, but not nearly as much as I did the first one. And that was, for me at least, because of a imbalance in the film's focus, with way too much focus on the Minions and not enough on the girls. Who had really provided the majority of the heart of that first film. We did get to meet Lucy in that film, who at first was Gru's partner as he became an anti-villain instead of just a retired villain, and later becoming a romantic interest for him. But I really felt like the Minions were overpowering that movie, especially considering they were going to get their own film relatively shortly after the release of Despicable Me 2. And if anything, the Minions movie proved that the Minions are indeed very funny in the proper dose, which was more or less what we got in the first Despicable Me movie. And by the time you get to the end of a Minions solo movie, you're pretty tired of it. So I'm happy to report that Despicable Me 3 has a much better balance. The Minions are there, but they're funny and they don't overstay their welcome. We do get more emphasis on the girls in this film, giving them a few side stories, but the real focus of this movie is Gru discovering that he has a twin brother, Drew, both characters voiced by Steve Carell. Drew could have easily been a character that would have been very annoying, and he ventures close to it several times after his initial introduction, because he is a character who seems very vain, but he's also a character that wants to be a villain, but unlike Gru, never succeeded at it. So he's sort of the little devil on Gru's shoulder, trying to get him to become a villain again. And the reason that he would even entertain this is the fact that Gru has gotten into trouble with the Anti-Villain League because he failed to capture this other villain named Brat, voiced by Trey Parker of South Park fame. He's a person who is obsessed with the 80s, and I really don't want to spoil why he's obsessed with the 80s, because it's actually really hilarious. He is a great villain. I would go as far as to say he's the best villain this series has seen. He is a great addition to this film. But he gets one better on Gru. As if you've seen the initial trailer for the film, you know more or less what happens. So that's sort of the setup. We have Gru coming to terms with the fact that he has a brother, trying to decide what's going to happen next for him and his family. Lucy still struggling with the idea that she's a mother of three girls, and the girls kind of getting into some of their own adventures. Margot has one, Agnes has one. Once again, like in the second film, Edith really isn't given a whole lot to do, other than some funny moments, but she really doesn't get her own story, which is kind of sad considering she didn't get her own story in Despicable Me 2 either. But all in all, I found this film very enjoyable. Again, based on the better balance of characters and the focus of the characters, the introduction of Drew, and especially the villain. It's a well written film. There are several times where they could have gone easy routes and created some melodrama with some misunderstandings, and they never really went there. Or if they did, it didn't last too long. They didn't try to milk it for all it's worth. Instead, they just focused on telling a streamlined story. The film's like 90 minutes long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. If your children are fans of the Despicable Me movies, I don't see any reason why they won't like this one. If you're a fan of the films as an adult or parent, and you liked the first film, felt the second one wasn't quite as good, this one's definitely an improvement over the two. And if they keep making these films, I'm going to keep going to see them because this is a franchise I do enjoy. Now, if you've seen Despicable Me 3, what did you think about it? And what were your thoughts on the balance of Gru slash girl slash Lucy slash Minions balance? Do you feel, which of the two sequels did you like better? And what do you think is the best villain of the series so far? I am curious to know your opinion. So please put them down in the comments below. As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.